This is the Tampa Bay Lightning, and in back-to-back seasons, the defending Cup champs and their ultimate rival in the Florida Panthers eliminated them in the first round of the Stanley Cup playoffs. A decade that started with Tampa being the gold standard of the NHL by winning 2 cups has since taken a back seat thanks to the dominance of the Florida Panthers. The state of Florida has owned hockey, but the Panthers have taken over the mantle as the king of the state. However, this season, outside of the Colorado Avalanche, the only team that seemingly comes close to them in the East in terms of overall play and advanced numbers are the Tampa Bay Lightning. Despite being decimated by injuries, Tampa has still found a way to become one of the most dominant teams in the league. In their last 20 games, the Lightning are 16-2-2, and they've only lost by more than 1 goal in one of those 4 losses. Now, just looking at the raw numbers, we can see the dominance that Tampa has on this league. They're second best in goal differential in the NHL. They're second in the NHL in scoring and second in goals against. The only team ahead of them are, of course, the Colorado Avalanche, who are on pace to make history this regular season. And as of right now, Tampa looks like the best team coming out of the East. Now, this season, for the most part, has been a challenging one with injuries. With a condensed schedule because of the Olympics and the amount of games in a short time span, it has naturally led to injury troubles for a lot of teams. Tampa, though, has gotten hit worse than most. Their captain, Victor Hedman, has been out since December. And on top of that, key pieces like Ryan McDonough and Braden Point are also on the IR. Despite these injuries and others throughout the year, they still remain this good. A big reason is Coach John Cooper, but that shouldn't be a shock. There's a reason why he was chosen to be the head coach of Team Canada at the Olympics. He's one of the best coaches in the league, and the Lightning are consistently one of the most structured teams in the NHL, and it bleeds into every aspect of their game. It is fitting that they're a top 3 team in terms of goals for and goals against because their offensive and defensive game are so connected. The area where we see this the most is in the neutral zone. Tampa is one of the deadliest teams in the league off the rush because of how well they steal pucks and stop plays in this area of the ice. The best teams adapt tactically based on the score and their opponent, and Tampa is very flexible with how they want to control the neutral zone. If they want to be more aggressive and create more turnovers up ice and at each line, they will shift into this 1-2-2. You'll see here as the F1 forces the play up the wall, and watch the second layer on the F2 and F3 cut off the blue line to create a turnover and an instant 2-on-1 chance. This is the more traditional forecheck that we've seen a lot of teams adapt, especially lately because of the success of the Florida Panthers. The Panthers mastered this 1-2-2 because of how well they were able to close off each line with extremely tight gaps as a 5-man unit. Tampa's really good at this too, which is why we see them generate a ton of offense like this. Dallas wins a 50-50 puck, but look at Tampa's D holds strong at the blue line. A perfect Pocahontas to create a turnover. Tampa's able to attack the other way and score a goal. It's the same thing here too, as Tampa just holds the line incredibly well. A good stick creates a turnover, ends up in the hands of Nikita Kucherov, and that slick puppy is going to use his skill all day to create another goal for Tampa. And here's what I mean about Tampa's flexibility based on the score as well. They're up 5-2 in this game against Philly, and they want to be a little bit more conservative to protect the lead. So they go into this 1-1-3 neutral zone structure. It's a bit more passive, but it's designed to prevent odd man rushes and force blue line turnovers, which is exactly what we see here. Tampa's 3 is going to form a wall here at the blue line, and Zegras, who's the puck carrier, is going to be forced to go east to west. Their structure at the blue line buys time for the back pressure to catch up. It creates a turnover, and Tampa's got another rush chance and another rush goal. This is why they're a top 10 team in the league in neutral zone possession, by the way. Their players gap up extremely well to strip pucks, and they're hyper aware of how to execute based on the in-game situation. That's both a testament to the players and the coach. Now, the next area Tampa exposes their opponents is on the breakout. The Lightning want to get north fast, and the way they do this is by having a winger below the zone to stretch out the opposing team. As we just saw with Tampa in the neutral zone, every team wants to step up and get aggressive and not give their opponent space. So the way you counteract that aggression is by sending a winger north to get the opposing team to back up. This forces teams to make a decision. If they back up to cover the winger below in the zone, space underneath opens up for a clean breakout attempt. But if they decide to stay aggressive, then it opens up a dangerous rush opportunity or breakaway the other way. Now, Tampa uses this methodically too. They don't just send a cherry picker every time they get a chance to break out. There's rules, and it seems like wingers have the green light if they sense that their defender will gain possession shortly, like this play against Columbus. The Jackets rim this puck around the boards, and knowing that Tampa's going to get first possession, the winger coming on the ice for the Lightning is just going to stay at the opposing team's blue line to wait for this pass. A quick up pass right from their own end catches Columbus off guard, and with one pass, Tampa creates a 2-on-1 and another goal for. This plays right into the strengths of a player like Nikita Kucherov also. As the best offensive winger in the game, he's got a sixth sense of knowing when is the right time to blow the zone. As soon as he sees this puck is blocked, he's already decided he's going to take off, anticipating his teammate will get to that puck first. Sure enough, he does. Kucherov is all alone at the line, and there you go, he gets another cookie on the stat sheet. He creates a ton of offense like this, but even when plays don't materialize like as planned on the stretch play, it's still a system that plays into his elite off-puck routes. Here, Kucherov's already off-screen trying to stretch the play. It's covered, so Tampa makes the play underneath to head up ice. Now, by the time this reaches the red line, Kucherov is already straddling near the opposing team's blue line to take that space up upon entry. From being up ahead of the play, he purposely takes this wider route to get behind it and find the soft spot of open ice. Sure enough, it ends up right onto his stick with him being all alone to create some more magic. Now, anytime the Tampa Bay Lightning are having success, Kucherov is right in the middle of it. We've covered his brilliance so many times on the channel before. There's not a single player in the game who has a better first touch off the wall than Kucherov himself. It's allowed him to become the best playmaker in the world, and he has 4-point nights, basically sleepwalking most of the time, as he's the core driver of this Lightning offense. Perhaps the most telling stat of how versatile he is when creating offense is this chart. He is way above 98% of the league when it comes to generating shots off the rush, but what is just as impressive is that he leads all players in the league in generating shots off the forecheck and cycle too. Because he's so slippery and calculated with those off-puck routes in the O-zone, there isn't a single situation where he isn't a nuclear threat on offense. However, this Tampa team feels different this year because beyond Kucherov, they have found some diamonds in the rough. The biggest one is D-man Darren Radish. The undrafted 29-year-old has stepped right in for Victor Hedman and looked like he's been a Norris candidate for years. He's almost a point-per-game player. He's got an absolute cannon of a shot, and that's allowed him to step right into the PP1 role to have success. He and the pairing JJ Moser may be one of the best in the NHL right now. When looking at a pairing of at least 500 minutes played together, those two are at the top of the league in terms of expected goals percentage. The Virtual Hockey Scout did a fantastic breakdown of Moser's game as well, and his main strength is his proactive pressure first style. He aggressively disrupts opponents' exits through his anticipation, and because he's so great at reading the play, his timing is usually perfect. For this pairing, the numbers match the eye test, and if you can get through all that, then you still got to get through Andrei Vasilevskiy. Now, Vasilevskiy has had a weird couple of years, but he's truly rounding back into Vezina form. He has one of the best high-danger save percentages in the league, and the big reason why is how he handles one-on-one situations. When Vasilevskiy narrows in on a shooter, look at how his hands stay out in front of his body. They aren't glued to his hips, and they're quiet. There's very little movement in his glove or blocker. This steadiness removes information from the shooter and keeps the goalie above the puck. When the hands stay forward, calm, and in consistent lanes, the shooter just can't get an early visual cue to pick a corner or time their release. That forces them to either rush or guess, which is why usually these 2-on-1s and breakaway opportunities, they're frequently left firing right into Vasilevskiy's pad. Because of how patient he is with his hands, trying to go upstairs and tight against him is nearly impossible since he's got that angle over the puck, which by process of elimination makes it easier for him to anticipate shooters trying to slip one 5-hole. Then you have his world-class anticipation and athleticism like we see here. As this play turns into a potential 2-on-1, Vasilevskiy initially takes a deeper depth in his net to compensate for a potential passing play, but watch him read this in real time. Not only does he see that his defender is taking away that passing threat in his peripheral, but he also sees that the shooter is loading up. Now, he's decided he's fully committing to this shot, so watch his feet. He makes a quick, strong push outward to just readjust at the last second, and that extra bit of depth he gained by taking that little step forward is just enough for him to get a piece of this puck for an enormous grade A save. When he's on, he's doing this on the regular and having shooters want to put their head through a wall in frustration. When you stack all of this together with arguably the best coach in the league behind the bench, you get one of the best teams in the NHL and likely the biggest contender coming out of the East. The scary part is that they're doing this all without their captain and other key pieces. For them, the last few years have ended in bitter disappointment. Despite having similar dominant regular seasons just as good as this one, they've still fallen short with the other Florida team taking over the league. Tampa is now in a position this season to do something special, but whether or not that actually happens is something we'll have to wait and see.